The invitation to my father's retirement party from Sterling Industries sat on my desk like a ticking bomb. Not that it was actually an invitation, more like a warning from my sister Katherine. "Don't even think about showing up," her text read. "This is about celebrating Dad's legacy, not dealing with your embarrassment of a career." I sat in my private office on the 50th floor of the Morgan Tower, overlooking the city skyline, and couldn't help but smile at the irony. While my family thought I was working as a mid-level manager at some obscure investment firm, I had quietly become one of the most powerful players in corporate finance. "Ms. Morgan," my assistant Sarah's voice came through the intercom. "The final paperwork for the Sterling acquisition has arrived." "Perfect timing," I murmured, thinking about tomorrow's retirement party and the revelation that would shock my entire family. 5 years ago, when my father announced that my sister Katherine would succeed him as CEO of Sterling Industries, no one questioned his decision. After all, I was the quiet daughter, the one who lacked leadership qualities, as my father put it. The one who chose to leave the family business to find herself in the investment world. What they didn't know was that I had spent those 5 years building Morgan Capital, a private equity firm that had systematically acquired controlling interests in key industries. Our latest target? Sterling Industries itself. The current shareholding breakdown? I asked Sarah as she entered with the documents. "Through various shell companies and proxy investments, we now control 52% of Sterling's voting shares," she reported, placing the folder on my desk. "The board meeting is scheduled immediately after your father's retirement party tomorrow." I opened the folder, reviewing the numbers I already knew by heart. Sterling Industries, my family's pride and joy, was financially hemorrhaging under Katherine's leadership. Bad investments, outdated technology, and poor management had left them vulnerable. The perfect target for a hostile takeover. My phone buzzed, another text from Katherine. "Just to be clear, security has your photo. Don't embarrass us by trying to crash the party." I picked up a framed photo from my desk taken 15 years ago. My father standing proudly between Katherine and me at my college graduation. Back then he still believed in both his daughters. Before Katherine convinced him that my different approach to business meant I wasn't fit to lead. "Sarah," I called out. "Is everything set for tomorrow?" "Yes, Ms. Morgan. The board members have been quietly informed of the change in ownership. They're prepared for the announcement after the retirement ceremony." I touched the simple silver locket around my neck, my mother's last gift before she passed away. "Sometimes the quiet ones surprise you," she told me. "They're the ones watching, learning, building something greater than anyone expects." How right she had been. Another message flashed on my phone, this one from my brother-in-law David, Katherine's husband and Sterling's CFO. "Hear your little investment firm is struggling. Need a job at a real company? Might have some entry-level positions opening up." If he only knew that his recent desperate attempt to secure emergency funding had been denied because my firm controlled the banks he'd approached. Every financial door that had closed on Sterling Industries over the past year had been quietly shut by Morgan Capital. The afternoon sun cast long shadows across my office as I finalized the last details of tomorrow's plan. On my computer screen, Sterling Industries' stock price continued its steady decline, another piece of my carefully orchestrated strategy. "Your dress for tomorrow has arrived," Sarah announced, wheeling in a garment bag. "And the speech is ready for your review." I unzipped the bag, revealing an elegantly tailored black dress, Chanel, though my family would never recognize that. They still thought I shopped at department stores, carefully maintaining the image of modest success they'd assigned to me. 5 years, I mused, running my hand over the fabric. 5 years of being underestimated, excluded, dismissed. Tomorrow they learn what I've built while they were busy mocking my choices. My phone lit up with a news alert. Sterling Industries stocks hit 5-year low amid leadership concerns. Below it, a photo of Katherine at a recent press conference, her confident smile looking increasingly strained. "Should I confirm your absence at the retirement party?" Sarah asked with a knowing smile. "Oh no," I replied, picking up the folder containing tomorrow's announcements. "I wouldn't miss this party for the world. After all, it's about celebrating Dad's legacy and its new owner." As evening fell over the city, I stood at my office window, watching lights flicker on across the skyline. Somewhere out there, my family was probably gathering for a pre-retirement dinner, congratulating themselves on their success, never suspecting that their corporate empire was about to change hands. "Ms. Morgan," Sarah interrupted my thoughts. "The car is ready whenever you'd like to leave." I nodded, gathering my things. Tomorrow would be interesting indeed. My sister had warned security to watch for me trying to sneak in through the back. She never considered I'd be walking in through the front door as the owner. The morning of my father's retirement party dawned bright and clear. I arrived at my office early, watching the sun rise over the city while my team prepared for what would be a memorable day. "Latest report from Sterling Industries," Sarah announced, entering with her tablet. "Katherine's called an emergency executive meeting before the retirement ceremony. Apparently they're trying to secure last-minute financing." I smiled, remembering the desperate emails from their financial team that had been hitting my desk for weeks. "And the responses from the banks?" "All declined as per your instructions. Their credit lines are effectively frozen." My phone buzzed with a series of messages, first from my Aunt Susan, my father's sister and Sterling's HR director. "Heard rumors you might try to attend. Please don't make a scene. Your father deserves better." Then from my cousin Michael, recently promoted to VP of Operations despite his complete lack of qualifications. "Know your little investment career isn't working out, but don't ruin this for the family." Some of us actually succeeded. If they only knew that Morgan Capital now controlled not just Sterling Industries, but half the companies they did business with. That every major decision they'd made in the past year had been subtly influenced by my firm's strategic moves. "The board members are all confirmed for the afternoon meeting?" I asked Sarah. "Yes, all 17 have acknowledged the change in ownership. They're quite eager to discuss the company's new direction." She paused, checking her tablet. "Though Katherine's been trying to reach several of them all morning. Apparently they're not returning her calls." I opened my laptop, reviewing the presentation I would give after the retirement ceremony. Slides detailing Sterling's decline under Katherine's leadership, the systematic mismanagement, the nepotistic hiring practices. All leading to the final revelation: Morgan Capital's complete takeover. "Ms. Morgan," Sarah interrupted. "Security feeds from Sterling headquarters are live." On my monitor, multiple camera views showed the building buzzing with preparation. Staff hanging retirement banners, caterers setting up in the grand hall, and in the executive conference room, Katherine pacing frantically while gesturing at financial reports. I checked my watch. 3 hours until the ceremony. Time to set the final pieces in motion. "Release the press statement," I instructed Sarah. "The one about Morgan Capital's major announcement following Sterling Industries' retirement ceremony." Within minutes, business news channels began speculating about the timing. "Mystery investment firm promises industry-shaking revelation," scrolled across the bottom of financial networks. My phone rang. Katherine again. I let it go to voicemail, listening as her message played. "Listen here, you little failure. I don't know what you're planning, but if you ruin Dad's retirement, I'll make sure you never work in this city again." I touched my mother's locket, remembering her words about patience and timing. For 5 years I'd waited quietly, building my power while they built their illusions. Now it was time to shatter those illusions completely. "Your car is ready," Sarah announced. "And the board members have taken their positions." I stood, smoothing down my dress, the same one they'd mocked at last year's company gala when I'd managed to sneak in as someone's +1. "Have security hold the press in the lobby until after my entrance. I want everyone's attention focused on the stage when the announcement comes." The drive to Sterling headquarters was surreal. The building I'd grown up visiting, where I'd spent summers learning the business from the ground up before Katherine convinced everyone I wasn't executive material, loomed ahead. Its glass facade reflected the morning sun like a mirror, hiding the chaos I knew was unfolding inside. At the entrance, security guards stepped forward to stop me, then froze as they recognized my face from the morning's briefing. The new owner of Sterling Industries was to be given immediate access, no questions asked. In the lobby, staff members whispered and pointed. Many of them remembered me from my early days at the company, before Katherine's systematic campaign to erase my presence from Sterling's history. "The retirement ceremony begins in 30 minutes, Sarah murmured beside me. Katherine's still in the executive conference room, trying to reach the board members. I nodded, heading toward the private elevator that would take me to the floor where my family was gathering. The same elevator I'd once been told was for executives only by my smirking sister. As the doors opened on the top floor, I heard Katherine's voice echoing down the hallway. What do you mean you can't approve emergency funding? We're Sterling Industries, we don't get denied credit. I stepped out just as she slammed down her phone, her perfect composure finally cracking. Our eyes met across the marble foyer, and for a moment, I saw fear flicker across her face. You, she hissed. How dare you show up here? Security. I wouldn't, I said quietly. After all, it's poor form to throw out the majority shareholder of Sterling Industries. The color drained from her face as my words sank in. What did you say? But before I could respond, the ceremony was beginning. It was time for the real show to start. The grand hall was packed with Sterling Industries elite executives, board members and family, all gathered to celebrate my father's retirement. I slipped into the back just as Katherine took the stage, her composure barely restored. Welcome everyone, she began, her voice carrying that practiced corporate warmth. Today we celebrate not just my father's retirement, but the bright future of Sterling Industries under its next generation of leadership. From my position in the shadows, I watched my father beam proudly at his chosen successor. He had no idea that in less than an hour, everything would change. Sterling Industries has always been about family, Katherine continued, gesturing to the executive team, all carefully chosen relatives and friends who owed their positions to her favoritism. About maintaining the values and traditions that made us great. My phone buzzed silently, a message from Sarah. Press is in position. Board members ready. And now, Katherine said, I'd like to invite our retiring CEO, my father, to share some words about Sterling's legacy and future. My father stood, making his way to the podium. He looked older than I remembered, more tired. Perhaps somewhere deep down he knew his company wasn't as strong as Katherine pretended. 35 years ago, he began, I founded Sterling Industries with a dream of building something that would last generations. Today I'm proud to leave that legacy in capable hands. I touched my mother's locket again, drawing strength from her memory. She would have seen through Katherine's facade, would have questioned the company's declining numbers and questionable decisions. And while some chose to abandon our family traditions, my father continued with a slight edge to his voice that I knew was meant for me, others remained loyal, ensuring Sterling's continued success. That was my cue. I stepped out of the shadows, making my way down the center aisle. Gasps and whispers followed my progress. Katherine's face contorted with rage as she spotted me. Security, she hissed into her microphone, but no one moved. The guards had new orders now. I reached the stage just as the main screen behind it flickered to life, displaying Morgan Capital's logo. The room fell silent. Ladies and gentlemen, a voice announced, one of the board members standing up from his seat. Before we continue, we have an important announcement. Sterling Industries is under new management. My father gripped the podium. What is this? Perhaps, I said, taking the microphone from his trembling hands, I should explain. The screen changed, showing a complex web of stock purchases and acquisitions. Over the past 5 years, while serving as CEO of Morgan Capital, I've been systematically acquiring controlling interest in Sterling Industries through various subsidiaries and shell corporations. Katherine lunged forward. You're lying. This is impossible. As of 9 o'clock this morning, I continued calmly, Morgan Capital owns 52% of Sterling Industries voting shares. The board has already approved the change in leadership. The room erupted in chaos. Family members frantically checked their phones, confirming the news that was now breaking across all financial networks. Morgan Capital acquires Sterling Industries, ousted daughter returns as CEO. This is a trick, my father stammered. You run a small investment firm. No, Dad, I corrected him gently. I built one of the largest private equity firms in the country while you were all busy underestimating me. Morgan Capital now controls assets worth over $12 billion, including Sterling Industries. Katherine's perfectly manicured hands shook as she grabbed the financial reports being distributed. These numbers, our losses, how did I know about the hidden debts? The covered-up failures? The mismanaged projects? I smiled. I learned this business from the ground up, remember? Before you convinced everyone I wasn't executive material. The The screen changed again, showing Sterling's true financial state under Katherine's leadership. The declining profits, the mounting debts, all carefully concealed until now. Effective immediately, I announced to the stunned crowd, Katherine and the current executive team will step down. Morgan Capital will assume full control of Sterling Industries operations. You can't do this, my father protested weakly. This company is our legacy. Was your legacy, I corrected him. A legacy you entrusted to someone who cared more about appearances than actual success. But don't worry, I'll restore Sterling Industries to what it should have been all along. Security began escorting the former executives from the stage. Katherine's perfect composure finally shattered completely. We're family, she screamed. You can't just take everything from us. Family. I turned to face her. Like when you took everything from me. When you poisoned Dad against me. When you erased me from Sterling's history. The room fell silent as years of buried truth finally surfaced. The difference is, I continued, my voice carrying clearly through the hushed hall, I'm taking control because I earned it. Because I built something stronger than your illusion of success. And now I'm going to rebuild what you nearly destroyed. The next few hours passed in a blur of press conferences, legal documents and corporate transitions. By evening I sat in what had been my father's office, my office now, looking out over the city lights. Sarah entered quietly. The press releases are done. Social media is exploding with the story. Prodigal daughter returns, the greatest corporate takeover of the year. I nodded, touching the silver locket one last time. Mom would have appreciated the irony, I said softly. They thought they were pushing me out of the family legacy. Instead they forced me to build something greater. Your sister has been trying to reach you, Sarah added. Along with about 30 other family members. I'm sure they have. I turned from the window. Forward all their messages to legal. We have a company to rebuild.